countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire.
We gather here this day in memory of one of our town's finest young bears, Bunson, a friend, a cousin, a brother, a son. We gather together this day to remember someone dear to all our hearts, a young bear whose short life was too short, but in that short time with us, he gave us much of himself to remember him by. Bunson never let pride rule his heart. With a gentle push, he'd send someone on the right path. If he saw someone in trouble, perhaps falling off a skateboard or a bike, he would always help them up if he'd seen they'd fallen. The same could be said about his attitudes toward life. Bunson was always willing to lend a hand of guidance. How often had I seen him at the grocery store, feet solid, unwavering, focused solely about, while in hopeless frustration, complaining to the manager about those horrid, nudie magazines on display at the checkout. Bunson would stand there for hours if need be, making his case with the manager, fingers pointing, tongue flying in disgusted awe, hoping the manager would see the evil of those magazines in the same way Bunson did. There were times, yes, in Bunson's life, when he wasn't as noble as he was towards the end. The same could be said for each of us. We all backslide, but Bunson was always one to remind us of our errors, of the things we were doing wrong, or could do somewhat better, that our hearts should be centered on things noble, that greed exists to tempt us, but we are able to battle that temptation and strive for what is good, for greed is the sin which we bathe in joyously for a time. Afterwards, however, greed would only pollute our souls, and horribly allows us to flaunt our vices to any and all who see. Not an envious soul by any means either. Why, I remember a time when Bunson came upon a homeless man laying in the street. Bunson saw him from across the way and ran over to him as fast as he could. While everyone else would walk over the homeless man, Bunson would run up to him with the hope of helping him, while others would seemingly take delight of kicking him to see if he was alive. Bunson would bend over and gently slap him to get the man to shake off his drunken stupor. Afterward, Bunson would help him up, and if need be, drag him off to a homeless shelter, so he wouldn't have to sleep in the middle of the street. Bunson was never one to allow one to suffer needlessly, even if it meant he himself was put at risk. He did this so he could earn his heavenly rewards, even if it meant he himself would get hit by a car. There was another time Bunson saw a homeless man standing outside of a diner. Bunson was on his way to buy a video game, but instead asked the homeless man to join him inside the diner for dinner. Bunson and the homeless man sat down, and I'm sure Bunson would have let the homeless man order everything on the menu if he had wanted to. There, Bunson and the homeless man ate. The homeless man watched Bunson eat, while shedding tears of joy and gratitude. The homeless man would have been glad to have gotten some coffee. Instead, he got a whole meal and a friend. Nothing could have made him happier in that moment. Bunson was often like this with all who knew him. Bunson was also an even-tempered fellow, not quick to anger, but level-headed, thoughtful, and not one to hold a grudge. There was a time not long back when, walking down Main Street, a chap on a bicycle nearly ran him over. Instead, Bunson simply was shoved aside, jumping out of the way to avoid a direct collision. Did Bunson grow irate? Did he scream obscenities at the man on the bicycle? You can bet your life he didn't. What he did do was dust himself off, step back onto the pavement, and pick up our conversation right where we left off. Bunson wasn't one to break down, allowing himself to have a screaming fit. He didn't let loose a torrent of obscenities. He held himself in composure, chased the wrongdoer from his mind as he would a stray thought, and proceeded on a path of meekness, not hate-filled tongue-twisters, chastising stranger after stranger, without just cause. Truly, Bunson's ability to control his temper was a sight to behold. Finally, it would be remiss of me to go on without commenting on Bunson's clean living, an example he set for those around him.
Before we continue, let me quiet the thunder, darken the lighting. The angel of death springs forth from among your own. It chooses a kindred spirit, one that springs forth from the same root as you, in order to confront you. Once grown, it is cast off and sent to be devoured in its task, until finally completed, it withers. The planter comes forth.
Wow. Yous could have done that as soon as I got here, Ariel. Actually, yous could have done that any time. Why?
You will know the answer when the time has arrived, Bunson. Now your questions, as time is short. We must not delay any further.
Yes, sure. Okay, Ariel. Why didn't the writer tell me that the Ginny who I thought had died, that she was a clone? Why did I have to travel through all that nonsense just to be told by the giant mutant monster beast? Then learn that Ginny was Virgil, from Jingles no less. I could have learned about Ginny at any point on my travel, yet everyone I trusted done hid that knowledge from me. Why?
To all answers there are seasons. You do not look for an ice cream truck in the winter, nor do you bring out your sweaters in the summer. For all, in this case knowledge, there is a season. It cannot be brought out early, nor will it be late. It will be presented in its due time. You, Bunson, were not ready to hear such devastating news when you were with me, nor with the writer. Nor was it Jingles' part to let the information slip early. Only the giant mutant monster beast's special gift of time bending allowed you to bear the weight of such heavy knowledge, then give you time to absorb it. If any other had told you at any point along your travels, your mission would have failed. Orville would rule the universe. Earth would be a ground of moral depravity not seen since the days of Sodom.
So, the Sigis people I done created, they lied to me about Ginny's condition because
they were under Orville's mental influence, as was everyone but you at that time. Captain Orville MT may be temporarily powerless, but let loose, he is more powerful than you have ever experienced, Bunson. What limited power you have seen is only a fraction of what he is capable of. Very little keeps him from unleashing this power upon Earth. Even I, were it the season of his escape, could not stop him. My force field would be useless. Yet, one thing keeps him from overplaying his hand now. That alone is what keeps him living with his mother and Mervin.
What is it, Ariel? What keeps him in line? What's the secret that's keeping him in line?
The secret you will fall upon shortly, Bunson. To all things a season, for all knowledge a time. I am afraid that the time you will learn this secret is all too near. Until then, be satisfied that I protect you and always will. Do not head into areas where angels fear to walk, for hubris is a disease that spreads. But keep your heart pure, your faith intact, and I will never leave you, Bunson.
Speaking of a pure heart, I sorry, Ariel, but I just gotta ask this. I promised him I would.
Orville wants you to petition me for his release, or transfer from Mervin and his mother.
Yeah. How do you know that, Ariel?
Orville may be all-powerful, but he's not all-intelligent. His motives and actions are entirely predictable, which is how I knew to bring you here. He could not resist the temptation of placing you in danger. So sure was he that I would retrieve you out of it.
You mean he set me up with that cloak of hidden beauty? That story, just so that cave would crumble on me?
Indeed he did, but as with all things regarding Orville MT, there is more to the story, Bunson. Far more than I can tell you now. What I can tell you is that even though Orville currently poses a threat, he is no threat to you or I, so long as the secret keeps him in line. So long as the secret keeps him in line, there is nothing he will do to you or I to cause us harm. He may scheme, he can manipulate, he can even lie and make the lie sound sweeter than truth, but he cannot harm us.
What happens after the secret is revealed and no longer keeps him in line?
What must, Bunson? What must? Time is running out. I must leave this place soon. Of the items you found in Ernest Navigo's chest, there was a necklace. I must have this necklace, Bunson. I must have it in order to escape and return to the castle.
Sure, Ariel. You can have it all. I didn't see much stuff in there. Just some knickknacks. No cloak of hidden beauty, though.
Those items, whose appearance is seemingly without reward, in actuality have great value, Bunson, far more so than their earthly worth.
How so, Ariel?
Excluding my necklace, there were 5 items I placed in Navigo's cave when I removed the cloak of hidden beauty.
You removed the cape. Why?
Even though Navigo's cave was a death sentence to any and all who entered it, it did not stop people from trying. In order to secure the cloak of hidden beauty, I had to devise a way in which no man, save he who I sent, could retrieve it.
And that one man, or bear in this case.
It is you, Bunson.
Why was I afraid you was gonna say that? How do these knickknacks figure into this whole mess?
The 5 items you found belong to 5 individuals of Earth. However, not Earth of the present, Earth of the past. Each individual has traded me their item for a single piece of an orb I created. Separated, the pieces are useless, without value, much as you saw the items you found. However, when the 6 pieces are placed together, a chest sealed by me will open. In it lay the cloak of hidden beauty.
Wait a minute. 6 pieces. You just said there are 5 hidden throughout Earth's past.
Indeed, the 6th and final piece contains an activation sequence fusing the orb into one solid object. The activation piece lay not in Earth's past, nor in Earth's future, nor is it on Earth now. Where it is, I cannot tell you. The location of this final piece lay hidden, and its location you will learn of on your journey. Do not fret, Bunson. You will not be given a task above your ability. You will succeed in this. You have my promise.
Couldn't we just bypass all of this? You tell me who the bad news bandit is. so I can call the cops and have the person arrested. That would be so much easier, Ariel.
The season has not changed, Bunson. The harvest is not ready. The knowledge not ready to be stored away for the winter. I lay weakened by my imprisonment, Bunson. I cannot retrieve the cloak on my own. You must retrieve it and save your town from the onset of darkness. For the cloak of hidden beauty has a purpose unknown to you at this time, but one that must be fulfilled. You must go after her, Bunson. You must rescue her. You must free her, because she will save your life at a time when hope is fled.
Eyes knows you don't use words, you see, Ariel. So I'll remember all you said here. I know that at some point, all of this will make sense, just like last time. All's right? I'll remember it all. But just one thing, if yous is weak, how's is I gonna get into the past and get the fragments of this orb of yours?
With this, Bunson.
Oh boy.
Orville, get up here. It's almost time. That special about your little friend is about to come on the television set. You don't want to miss that, do you?
I have more important things to do than stare at that idiot on the idiot box. Leave me alone, Mother. I've got to plan my conquest of the universe, and I can't do that with your incessant shouting.
Some days I wonder if that boy is really my own offspring. He's nothing like me, his father, on the other hand. I'll be right there with you stews. I've got the cake in the oven for Sylvester when he gets home. It's almost ready.
Sylvester is the cutest little guy I've ever seen, isn't he, Jingles? I didn't get a chance to talk to him at the memorial service, but he seems like a pretty nice kid. Respectful. He didn't cause Bunson's mom any problems at all. I've never seen a child so well behaved. I can't believe he's really such a good kid with all he's been through lately.
You'll have to fill me in on Sylvester, Lazar. What with Ollie being missing, I haven't kept up on the town's news. But yeah, he seems like a really good little fella. I can't wait to meet him when he gets here. There was just so much going on after the memorial service ended that somehow I never got an introduction to him either.
Well, we don't know much. Ginny told me that Sylvester's parents were getting a divorce and that he's going through some other issues as well. His parents and Bunson's mom thought it would be best if Sylvester had a change of scenery and someone like Bunson to act as his older brother. So they sent him here. The only problem was that by the time Sylvester was on the train heading here, Bunson...
Yeah, Bunson.
That really was a great memorial service Bunson had. The preacher said some nice things about him. All in all, as memorial services go, I thought Bunson's went without any problems. Very decent, nice, respectful. How did it come out on camera, Jingles?
What do you mean, Lazar? How would I know?
Didn't you go with Mervin back to the studio to edit the video for tonight's show?
No, I didn't. I thought you did, Lazar.
No, I didn't. After the service, I came back here with Ginny and...
Oh no, you mean Mervin edited tonight's special on our show all by himself?
Oh no. Well, he couldn't. He wouldn't. How bad a job could he do, Jingles?
It's not how bad a job we have to worry about, Lazar. It's Mervin's state of mind. He's brilliant, clever, insidious. Whatever he does will be done 110% the way he wants it done. Only, how does he want this special to come across? Lazar, I've got to get over to the studio. I've got to stop this special from going out on the air.
Jingles, you can't. It starts in less than 2 minutes.
Let's see. What? Okay, you stay here and watch the show. I'll head over to Mervin's house, so that at least if he did do something to the video footage, I'll be right there with him too.
To what, Jingles, to what?
I don't know, Lazar, I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll do it. You stay here and I'll be in touch once we know fully what's going on with this show tonight.
Okay, Lazar, Jingles. Oh, Jingles, he left. Where'd he go? Oh, we're starting.
Quiet down, Mother. I'm in the middle of some very important calibrations.
Oh, look, Lazar. Your special is starting.
Never one to be outdone. Even so, Bunson never let pride rule his heart. With a gentle push, he'd send someone falling off a skateboard or a bike. The same could be said about his attitudes toward life.
What on earth is this?
Bunson was always willing to lend a hand of guidance. How often had I seen him at the grocery store, feet solid, unwavering, focused solely about nudie magazines on display at the checkout. Bunson would stand there for hours if need be, tongue flying.
Lazar, what kind of smut is this? The preacher never said any such thing.
Us. We all backslide, but Bunson was always one to remind us that greed is the sin which we bathe in joyously and allows us to flaunt our vices to any and all who see.
Oh, my stars. What a wretched thing to say. And at a memorial service. How dare he?
Why, I remember a time when Bunson came upon a homeless man laying in the street. While everyone else would walk over the homeless man, Bunson would run up to him with the hope of kicking him over and slap him. Afterward, drag him off to the middle of the street so he would get hit by a car.
Ginny, I didn't have anything to do with this. It was Mervin.
There was another time. Bunson saw a homeless man standing outside of a diner. Bunson was on his way to buy a video game, but instead asked the homeless man to join him inside the diner for dinner. Bunson and the homeless man sat down, and the man ordered everything on the menu. There, Bunson ate. The homeless man watched Bunson eat. While shedding tears, the homeless man would have been glad to have gotten some coffee. Instead, he got nothing. Bunson was often like this with all who knew him.
The absolute horror of this horrid man. How could anyone say something so horrible about a fine young lad like Bunson? The horror!
Bunson was also an even-tempered fellow. There was a time not long back when walking down Main Street, a chap on a bicycle nearly ran him over. Did Bunson grow irate? Did he scream obscenities at the man on the bicycle? You can bet your life he didn't let loose a torrent of obscenity, chased the wrongdoer, and proceeded on a path of hate-filled tongue-twisters, chastising stranger after stranger. Truly his temper was a sight to behold.
Why, in all my years, I've never heard something so untrue, so wretched, so absolutely without any kind of justification.
Finally, it would be remiss of me to go on without commenting on Bunson's an example he set for those around him. Ever one to lay around in a heap of mud like a pig, his clothes were dirty, his fingernails were laced with filth, presented himself to his friends, family, and fellow townspeople, walking around like the town was his own personal pigsty. When he would burp, when he would fart, when he would sneeze, he would wipe his mouth, his hands, his nose on all the people he'd bump into throughout the days he lived. Truly Bunson was a bear who walked through life, treating not with cross words, anger, and hate-filled speech, and worse actions. Bunson was a bear we should place blame always.
Mama MT, Are you all right? Mama MT, answer me. Are you all right?
Bunson, you will make use of this time chamber. With it, you will be taken to the 5 locations and time periods where my orb fragments have been hidden. Simply step into the chamber, and it will take you where you need to go.
And when I find the location of the 6th piece of the orb,
Simply enter the time chamber, speak the time and place you learned of, and it will take you there as well.
I won't fail you, Ariel.
Nor are you, my friend. I must return to the castle, for my tormentor will soon learn of my escape. There I will rest, recover, and restore my power, and brace for battle.
Is there anything I can do, Ariel? Anything at all to help you in your battle?
In time you will help, in your own way. But for now, continue on with your mission, as it is vital to the stability of all our pasts, all our futures. Your mission is vital to the stability and very existence of time itself. There is no greater deed you can do for any than that which you are setting out to do, Bunson Bear. Peace be with you. I will be too.
Of all the horrible things to do to a person, not just a person, but to Bunson, someone who was so kind to him, who visited him every single day of the week, who even died on a quest that he sent him on. How could Mervin do something so horrible as to edit that lovely memorial, that memorial service into that?
I don't know, Jenny, but Jingles took off from Mervin's house as soon as we realized that he didn't have any supervision in putting this special together. We'll get answers soon enough, as soon as Jingles has any answers anyway. But with Mervin, I don't know. I don't know if there will be an answer that we'll like. He has always been a strange one. I don't know what Bunson ever saw in him. Mervin's always been one of the oddest people in town.
And what? And yet you let him film this memorial service. Why, Lazar? Why?
He had all the equipment. He knew how to use it. All of our video stuff is tied into the studio. We couldn't have filmed the memorial if we'd wanted to. But when Mervin approached Jingles and I with his idea, it seemed like a good one. It was too, only in all the chaos after the memorial, all the people wanting to talk to us, Jingles and I just assumed that the other would monitor Mervin and all he'd do with the video footage. But in all the activity, we both really screwed up, Jenny. I am so sorry, I really am. I never thought anything like this would happen.
Don't worry, Lazar. I'm not mad at you or Jingles. I'm mad at that awful Mervin. First he sends my beloved Bunson unto his death. Then he takes his memory and does this to it. How can anyone be so hateful of someone so wonderful like Bunson? How could... Oh, hi, Mrs. Bear.
Good evening, Mrs. Bear. Is this little Sylvester that you have with you?
Oh, yes, this is our little guide, our special little man. Aren't you, Sylvester?
Well, he certainly is special in how adorable and how cute he is. You're just about the cutest little cousin I have ever seen, Sylvester.
Oh, yes, he is special. One of the finest bears in our family.
And what makes you so special, my little fella?
I have AIDS.